Let's be honest, if you've ever had to wrestle with statistics software, you know that feeling. You've got a really important question, you've got the data to answer it, but the tool itself feels like the biggest obstacle in your way. Well, today, we're going to explore a new approach that promises to completely change that relationship.
And it really all boils down to this one simple question, doesn't it? Is your statistics software an ally in your research, or does it feel like it's actively working against you? For so many students and researchers, the answer is a big, frustrating yes.
So here's the classic showdown. On one side, you've got the traditional tools. They're expensive, a nightmare to install, and they often demand you basically become a programmer just to get an answer. But on the other side, we have a vision for a totally new way of doing things, something accessible, smart, and crucially, built with your privacy as the top priority.
Okay, let's really dive in and unpack why the old way feels so, well, broken. It's something we can call the Statistical Software Gauntlet.
Yeah, this gauntlet is probably going to sound painfully familiar to a lot of you. First, the crazy high licensing costs that are just a huge barrier. Then come the complex installations and all the compatibility headaches. And of course, that brutal learning curve with interfaces that just aren't intuitive. Even with amazing open source tools like R or Python, you're suddenly expected to be a stats whiz and a coding expert. But maybe the biggest flaw of all is that last point. The workflow is totally fragmented. There's this huge, messy gap between your analysis and your final paper.
And what's the end result of all that? You're left with a process that is just so manual, so incredibly time-consuming, and honestly, just begging for errors to creep in. It's a system that actively puts the brakes on discovery.
Okay, so how do we actually fix this mess? Well, the approach we're looking at today isn't just some minor update. It's a completely new kind of tool, and it's built on these three big ideas: privacy, power, and accessibility. And the absolute bedrock of this whole new approach is this really powerful idea called Privacy-Preserving Statistical Computing, or PPSC for short. Just think of it like having a secure, totally self-contained lab right on your own computer. All your data, all the number crunching, it all happens locally, right there in your browser. Nothing sensitive ever gets uploaded to a server. Now, for anyone working with data under rules like HIPAA or GDPR, this isn't just a nice little feature, it's an absolute necessity. And this table does a great job of connecting the dots, showing how these technical choices translate into real-world benefits for you. That client-side computing we just talked about, that's your ticket to maximum data privacy. The fact that it's a progressive web app, or PWA, that means you can install it and it even works when you're offline. And under the hood, it cleverly uses the power of Python, giving you all these advanced tools without any of the setup nightmares.
Let's just focus on that PWA thing for a second. What does it actually mean for you? Well, it means you can install it on pretty much any device. Windows, Mac, your phone, your tablet, straight from the browser, no app store required. The core features? They work even if you lose your internet connection. It's always fast, and there is literally zero installation friction. You click, and it just works. But honestly, the biggest game changer here is how this tool bridges that huge knowledge gap. And that's where its AI research assistant comes in.
You see, the core problem the AI is designed to solve is something we can call the know what to ask gap. And this is a huge one. It's that moment where you have a really solid research question, but you're just not 100% sure which specific statistical test is the right tool for the job. And the way it works is just beautifully simple. First, you just state your research goal in plain English, no jargon needed. Then the AI analyzes the structure of your data, things like what kind of variables you have, what their distribution looks like. But it never ever looks at the sensitive data itself. Then it recommends the best statistical test for your question. And finally, and this part is so important, it explains why it's making that recommendation.
The big takeaway here is that this is not a black box that just spits out an answer and leaves you in the dark. No, it's a teaching tool. The whole point is to actually teach you the logic behind the statistics, turning every single analysis into a chance to learn something new. Okay, so the AI helps you pick the right test. That's awesome. But what about the journey from running that test to actually having a finished paper? Let's talk about the seamless workflow, getting you from data to draft. And this is where you save an unbelievable amount of time. You run your analysis, then the AI generates a draft write-up describing your results for you. It automatically formats all your tables and figures into perfect APA style. And just like that, you have a publication-ready report you can export. That whole manual, error-prone formatting step, it's just gone.
Now, don't for a second mistake all this accessibility for lack of power, because under the hood, this thing is a beast. We're talking a suite of over 20 specialized tools. And this isn't just basic stuff, it's serious professional-grade methods like survival analysis, meta-analysis, even structural equation modeling. The whole shebang is built right in.
But the vision here actually goes way beyond just being a research tool. It's also designed from the ground up to be a complete educational platform, a real glimpse into the classroom of tomorrow.
It starts with a full-blown biostatistics curriculum. We're talking 10 comprehensive modules that cover everything from the absolute basics all the way to advanced methods. And then, inside those modules, you've got over 100 individual lessons, and each one has practice exercises built right in to make sure the concepts really stick. And what's really cool is that the whole platform is built to work with your unique learning style. It's a multi-mode system. So whether you're a visual learner who needs interactive charts, or you prefer detailed readings, or maybe you learn best by listening, or by doing hands-on simulations, the content is designed to meet you where you are.
And yeah, it's smart about it too. It uses an adaptive learning system with proven techniques like microlearning and spaced repetition to personalize your education, making it way more efficient and maximizing how much you actually remember. So let's bring it all home. The core value of this whole approach really rests on these three massive pillars. First, you have accessibility, thanks to that zero-install, free-to-use model. Second, you have rock-solid privacy, which is guaranteed by that unique client-side architecture. And third, you've got intelligence, using AI to not just guide your analysis, but to automate your workflow, making it a true partner in your research. Which leaves us all with one final thought to chew on. Just imagine, what could you discover if your tools finally, truly worked with you instead of against you?